Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are in the world right now, welcome to the Agentic Procurement Summit. We have leaders joining from APAC, EMEA and the Americas, all at the same time, but all focused on the same question. What does it actually take to make Agentic AI work in procurement? So at Zycus, we don't just build technology for procurement. We also want to invest in advancing the profession itself. That's why we have partnered with the Hackett Group to produce the Agentic AI in Procurement Adoption Index 2026, the first and the most comprehensive study of its kind, with 250 plus CPOs and senior procurement leaders surveyed across the globe. And why we commissioned Forrester's Don't Delegate AI report? Because the industry needed an honest picture of what AI adoption really looks like on the ground. Two bodies of research, the deepest the industry has seen, and today you will hear from both of them. Not the pitch, not the pilot, the real thing. So that's what today is about. Let's get into it. Yeah. I've seen a lot of technology cycles, personal computers, the internet, mobile. Each one changed how we work. But I genuinely believe what is happening with AI is different in kind, not just in degree. You have to go back almost a century to find a parallel, correct? The Industrial Revolution. What did the Industrial Revolution do? It multiplied the power of human muscle. Entire economy shifted. Industries were born. The world reorganized itself. AI will do the same thing for human intelligence. Not incremental, but foundational and once in a generation. And we are all in the room, or rather in this session, at the exact moment it is happening. That matters. Now, let me be precise about what Agentic AI actually is, because a lot of what is being sold under that name is not Agentic AI. The Industrial Revolution started with the steam engine, raw power, full of potential. But the world did not change when the steam engine was invented. The world changed when factories harnessed that power, when assembly lines turned that raw power into finished products at scale and repeatedly. LLMs are the steam engine of our time, remarkable, foundational, but raw power. Agentic AI is the factory. That's the assembly line. It takes the raw intelligence and channels into structured, repeatable flows that deliver outcomes. Co-pilots answer questions, but agents achieve outcomes end to end without someone holding their hand at every step. That is the leap that changes everything. So we partnered with the Hackett Group to study exactly what is happening in the market right now. Not what people say they're doing, but what they are actually doing. Two numbers really stood out. 65% of procurement leaders are already prioritizing orchestrated AI flows over individual point agents. They are not chasing the shiny object. They are building for scale, structured end-to-end flows, not isolated point automations. And also, tech budgets are shifting. 12% of procurement technology spend is already allocated towards Agentic AI. This is not a trend, this is a commitment. The question is no longer if, it is how fast and with what foundation. So procurement's job is to deliver outcomes, not process transactions. We have been talking about source to pay for 2 decades and it has served us well. But source to pay describes a software system. Intake to outcomes describes a result. Think about what happens today when a business user raises a request. Emails, follow-ups, unclear routing. Nearly 40% of procurement time is lost before a single dollar of spend is even touched. Intake has been the broken front door of procurement for too long. Our answer is one intelligent front door for every request, every system, every process. It classifies, applies policies, and then routes autonomously. Simple for the person making the request and powerful for the procurement team behind it. So intake feeds into agentic flows. Agents negotiate, they source, they onboard, they pay. At the end of that chain, savings compliance, risk management, all delivered. That is what intake to outcomes means. And the S2P suite underneath is what makes it reliable. Intake, Agentic AI, and S2P must all work together. Miss one and the outcomes fail. So I want to explain something about how our AI works because it is different from most vendors here. Over more than 20 years, Zycus has processed trillions of dollars in real procurement spend across thousands of organizations, every continent, every category, real transactions, real suppliers, real negotiations. That history is not a credential, it is a training set. When a negotiation agent opens a conversation with the supplier, it knows what good looks like because it has seen what good looks like hundreds of thousands of times in practice. When Merlin Intake classifies a request and routes it, it is drawing on more procurement-specific signals than any platform built in the last 2 years can access. When a sourcing agent identifies savings, it is not estimating. It is pattern matching against trillions of dollars of real spend history. You cannot build that in a short time. You cannot buy it. It compounds over time in production with real data. 32 patents, Gartner Magic Quadrant Leader 2026, Forrester Wave Leader, IDC Leader for AI-enabled source-to-pay 2025. These are the outcomes of building with that foundation. We do not believe in hundreds of shallow automations. That is not transformation. We believe in a few deep flows that matter. Flows that, when you deploy them, replace 30 to 40% of the human effort in any meaningful role in procurement. We co-created this with our AI Council, CPOs and procurement leaders representing over $500 billion in combined spend. They told us what matters and we built it. Intake, live now. The AI control tower for every procurement request with policy enforcement, auto classification, smart routing, budget validation, and it is built in, not bolted on. Anna, as we call it, our autonomous negotiation agent, live now. A requisition comes in, Anna builds the sourcing event, identifies suppliers, invites quotes, negotiates across multiple parameters, price, lead time, service level, and closes. End to end, no human involved in every step. 2 to 8% savings on tail spend and zero headache. Tata Play was the first organization in the world to put autonomous negotiation into production. Their feedback, stable, mature, and it delivers. Merlin Agentic sourcing, coming next. It takes a question like, I think we are overpaying on freight, and turns it into a strategic RFP with millions of dollars in identified savings and a 92% confidence score. 5 systems, 0 manual queries. The next, the supplier onboarding agent, building now. Each one production grade, not concept, not pilot, but live. There is a fundamental choice every organization faces with AI. Do you bolt AI onto the edges of your existing systems, or do you build it in where your data already resides? We learned this lesson years ago. Built in always beats bolt on. Only a deeply unified suite allows AI to reason effectively across data, across processes, across modules. When intake, sourcing, contracts, suppliers, invoices, and spend analysis share one data model, agents can actually act. They're not guessing, they're ready for the full picture. Our suite is organically built, one code base, one data layer, 40% faster deployments, lower total cost of ownership, and when agents run on top of it, they run with context. Let me paint a picture of where this is heading. Picture your procurement organization 2 years from now. Same humans, same leadership, same CPO. But sitting alongside your sourcing managers, you will have a strategic sourcing agent. Alongside your contract team, you'll have a contract renewal agent. Besides your supplier onboarding team, you will have a supplier onboarding agent. These are not replacements, these are colleagues, digital colleagues, tireless, intelligent, outcome-driven colleagues who handle the work that was always too small to justify senior attention, but too big to ignore. The question for every leader in this session is not whether this future is coming. It is whether you will be the one who shapes it or the one who responds to it. I want to say one more thing. We do not just build AI for procurement, we run on it ourselves. Our engineering team has already achieved a 4.3x increase in monthly feature delivery using AI-assisted development, testing, and release cycle. 3 times faster, same quality, actually better. Our NPS is now the best in class for B2B enterprises. We have run over 10,000 AI-assisted interviews internally. Our AI conducts candidate conversations with the highest satisfaction scores on both sides. We hold monthly AI reviews at the executive level. We track AI-driven productivity against tangible targets, every department, every quarter. We don't talk AI, we live it, and the lesson we keep learning, AI works when leadership owns it, not when you delegate it to IT, not when you run a proof of concept and wait, when you commit, measure, and iterate. So this summit exists because the procurement profession is at a real inflection point. You will hear from the Hackett Group on exactly where the market stands. You will hear from IBM, from EY, from practitioners who have already crossed from pilot to production. What ties it all together is this: the organizations that lead the agentic era will not be the ones who moved first. They will be the ones who moved with the right foundation. Foundation is not something you buy on a Tuesday and deploy on a Thursday. It is built over years in production with real spend, real data, and real outcomes. That is what Zycus brings to this moment. Thank you for being here today. Let's make the most of the next few hours. Thank you. See, most vendors are building what's easy. They're small, task-level agents. But procurement doesn't work in task. It works in end-to-end flows. Dozens of point agents just create fragmentation, more handoffs, more complexity, but they do not transform and result into outcomes. Real impact comes from making a full flow, like intake or sourcing, autonomous and end-to-end. That's what we mean by few but deep. For a CPO, the starting point is simple. Pick one high-impact flow. It could be demand autonomy, measure outcomes, and not just activity. Good question again. That's where agentic AI is fundamentally different than automation. Scripts work for predictable scenarios, but services and SOWs are inherently variable. An agent doesn't follow a script. It operates with context and the end objective. It balances multiple factors: price, scope, timelines, risk, and adjusts in real time based on how the negotiation really unfolds. And because it's trained on real procurement outcomes, it knows what a good looks like. So instead of breaking on exceptions, it handles them as part of the process. And that's what makes complex negotiation possible. Okay, before we get into specifics, let me set overall context on what Zycus stands for in AI. Our belief is simple: few but deep. We are not building dozens of narrow agents. We are building a handful of agentic flows that can replace 30 to 60% of the work done in a role. And the word autonomous matters. This is not AI layered on workflows. Workflows break. Agentic AI adapts, reasons, and delivers outcomes. Most AI in procurement today will fail, not because the technology isn't ready, but because it was never designed to deliver business outcomes. And that is the shift we are focused on. See, we have lived through major technology shifts. PCs, internet, mobile, all of them increased productivity. But they amplified human effort. And AI amplifies human intelligence. That's why the closest parallel is the Industrial Revolution that reshaped physical work. AI will reshape knowledge work across every function, including procurement. And the key point is timing. This isn't theoretical. The shift is already underway, and leaders today are operating right at that inflection point. The analogy I use is simple. LLMs are the steam engine of today. Agentic AI is the factory. The steam engine was powerful, but it did not transform industries on its own. Factories did that. They took that power and turned it into repeatable outcomes at scale. Most vendors today are still selling the engine. A co-pilot answers a question, but an agent delivers an outcome end to end. That shift from assistance to execution is what defines real agentic AI. It happens because intake was never designed as a system. A request comes in and then it fragments. You have emails, manual routing, policy checks done by people. Before sourcing even starts, a huge amount of time is lost. Fixing it means one intelligent front door. It understands the request, it applies policy, it routes correctly, all automatically. For the user, it feels simple. For procurement, it creates structure and control. And importantly, this cannot be workflow automation. Real world requests don't follow straight, clean line paths. Agentic intake adapts to variability and exceptions. Because autonomy requires context, most AI today sits on top of fragmented systems. It sees only a part of the picture. For an agent to act, it needs a unified view: intake, sourcing, contracts, suppliers, spend. That only happens with a built-in architecture. Bolt-on AI gives you the appearance of intelligence, but built-in AI delivers outcomes. Anna is already in production. We have customers globally running autonomous negotiation, not just for simple categories, but also for services and complex sourcing scenarios. Here's what it does. It builds requirements conversationally, it identifies suppliers, it negotiates across multiple variables, end to end. The impact is consistent, 2 to 8% savings on tail spend. Spend that was previously unmanaged because it sat in the middle. And this is expanding into a full agentic sourcing now, compressing the entire sourcing cycle from weeks to days. It matters because AI is only as good as what it has learned from. Our agents are trained on real procurement outcomes, not just models, but transactions across industries and geographies. When they act, they are pattern matching against what has actually worked in the past. That kind of intelligence compounds over time. It cannot be recreated quickly. The difference is simple. All that sounds intelligent versus AI that is consistently right. See, you still have the same leadership and teams, but augmented by agents. A sourcing agent works alongside a sourcing manager, a contract agent alongside your legal teams, a supplier onboarding agent supporting operations. So these are not tools, they are your execution counterparts. They take on work that is repetitive, fragmented, or too time consuming. And then they free up humans to focus on strategy and relationship. The question for leaders is not whether the model is coming, it is whether they shape it or respond to it. We worked with Forrester to study this across procurement leaders globally. The insight was clear. AI adoption succeeds when leadership owns it, procurement leadership. It fails when it is delegated. The organization seeing results, they set clear targets, they track outcomes, they review progress at a leadership level. They treat AI as a business transformation, not as a technology project. We see the same internally. When leadership commits and measures, outcomes flow. Stop waiting for the perfect use case. Pick one flow that matters. something that touches a meaningful portion of your team's work, then demand three things. It must be autonomous, it must deliver outcomes, and you must own it personally. The organization that leads this transition won't be the ones who experimented the most. They will be the ones who built on the right foundation and committed early.